yeah, be careful where you work is the moral of this story. I can hear someone laughing at me. Like, I think my door is the one least soundproof thing in my apartment. And I'm pretty sure someone just heard me yelling about that. Anyways, you can tell that I have feelings. Hello and welcome to my channel. Today is a story time video, if you could not tell by the title. So this is kind of one that I've been thinking about filming for a while, because this happened a while ago. Like, I left this job mid-April. It's taken me a while to film this, but you know, we're just gonna chat through it because boy, oh boy, was it an adventure. So, I've been a certified personal trainer for a little over a year now. I got my certification end of August of 2018. But in February of this past year, I was kind of in between jobs because, yeah, outside of the gym stuff, I work in politics, and there's like a natural election cycle thing where like you have a job until November and then you don't. So I was kind of like in between jobs, and so I was like, hey, cool, I'll work at a gym for a little bit while I wait and get this real job, and then maybe I can just do it on the side. And as fate worked out, I started working at the gym, and not even like 2 weeks, no, not 2 weeks, 2 days. 2 days later, I got my job offer at the place that I like have my like normal 9-to-5 job at now. So anyways, I started working at a gym, and I'm not going to, so this is not me like putting anyone on blast, so I'm not going to say the like chain that I worked for or, you know, the location. So we're not trying to like out anyone here. I also don't think that this is necessarily a one gym specific thing or a one branch of a gym specific thing. I think some of these things are more like cultural things that I just was not prepared for and like have some issues with. So the first is, you know, pay. I don't know if you've ever looked into how much it costs to get a personal trainer certification, but fun fact, it costs a good bit of money. Like, it's an investment. It is something that you are putting yourself through a lot of study time and energy, and, you know, taking a test and proving that you have like this like unique set of skills and like understand all of these like relatively complex scientific concepts. All that being said, you should make way more than minimum wage. It's a skill, it's like skilled labor. So all of that being said, someone lied to me when they hired me, and they told me how much I was going to make, because they told me that I was going to make the like minimum wage, and then I was going to make money per session. What they didn't explain, and you know, this is a thing that you need to do, is like salary transparency and pay transparency is really freaking important. They didn't tell me it's an either or situation. So you either get paid minimum wage or you get paid $6 per session, and so you could do 2 sessions a half hour. So your options are minimum wage, which here in Maryland is about $11.75, or bonus, you have a full, you know, a full 2 sessions worth of clients, and you make $12, a whole 25 cents extra. That was not communicated well, and so I was working 40 hours a week. I was at the beginning, before I started working a full-time job, I was working 40 hours a week, and I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning and not getting home until 10 p.m. Because the way that the like hours for training are structured is it's like 6 a.m. to noon and then 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And so most days I was working both of those, like I had availability on both of those shifts. And yeah, then I was making a minimum wage for that. No. So, which like leads into like the second thing, which is that big life lesson: if you don't have to work 75 hours a week, don't. Absolutely don't. I thought it was going to be sustainable for me to like continue to work this job once I started my like normal 9-to-5 job. No, I did it for about a month and a half, and it was the most draining month and a half of my life. If you notice, like, I was not putting up any new content on this channel or on my blog. It was exhausting. Like, it literally sucked all of the energy out of me, and all I could do was go to work, go to a different work, and come home, and I was like not eating well, I was not sleeping well. And like, you're a personal trainer, you're supposed to be like the model for like what healthy living is supposed to look like, and I was not at all. Anyways, so now we get into more specific stories. You know what a big red flag should always be? If you walk into a place and they're like, we need you because we don't have any women on our staff and we need more female trainers, run. Run far away, so fast. Because if there aren't any females on the staff, there's probably a really, really good reason for that. And you'll come to find it out in a couple of weeks. So, fun stuff. I don't even know where I want to start with this. There's a lot to unpack, like a lot. And the first is, you know, expectations of female trainers versus male trainers. I don't know what it is. Actually, no, I do. It's institutionalized sexism. That. Anyways, the expectations for me versus any of my male colleagues doing the exact same work were wildly different. I was expected, unlike the men who were allowed to like sit in a chair and like watch clients, I got told off for that. And I wasn't even sitting in a chair, I was like sitting on a stability ball. I don't know, like, if you're working on your feet for 6 hours straight, it's natural that you would like to sit down. It would be one thing if I was doing that and I had the client in front of me executing some exercise with like horrifically bad form, or even just incorrect form in general, like even just mildly incorrect. But no, this was someone who was executing things with proper form, and I was standing there and watching and counting and being engaged. And apparently that wasn't enough for my supervisor. Also, I was told that I was not cheerful enough, which I've been a cheerleader my whole life. I've been told this a lot. But once again, not a standard any of the men are held up to. They are not expected to smile all the time, but I was, because, you know, so that was just a very interesting thing that like people like, apparently to be a successful male trainer, you just need to be able to like yell at people, but to be a successful female trainer, you need to be cheery and happy all of the time, which is a absurd double standard, and no one can realistically be that happy all the time. And the whole point is that you're supposed to be tough. Like, you're not supposed to be like, I don't know, like that's not a genuine reflection of my personality, and it would be very artificial for me to, you know, try to act like my training style is super cheerful and super happy. My training style is you do what you're supposed to, I help you do what you're supposed to, I give you form tips, I maybe crack a joke or two because whatever, like we chat about lives and that's it. I'm not going to be bouncing up and down and clapping. I didn't do like sports cheerleading for this specific reason. That's not what I'm good at. So that expectation was just wild. And then also my personal favorite, and the one that this one happened and I called my dad, who was the first person I could think of that wasn't going to be doing something, at 12:30 in the afternoon when this happened. And I was just like, are you ready for a story? Because I'm ready to yell. And the long story short is that, you know, this particular branch of a gym, you know, not exactly known for like people having the like gym etiquette to put their weights back. And that etiquette extended to people using the personal training area and the trainers. So most of the other trainers never put any of their stuff away, and I am a relatively neat person. So it was kind of my standard practice to, you know, put everyone's stuff away. And I just kind of did it without really thinking about it, which a mistake on my part, because then, heaven forbid, one day I didn't clean up after myself or, you know, the other 2 trainers who had trained, and I got a text about it. No one else did. Neither of the other 2 male trainers that worked that morning got a text, but I got a text from my supervisor being like, you need to clean up after you're done. And it would be one thing if that was like, you know, everyone got disciplined for that equally, everyone got told off for it. That was not a thing that I had been doing for everyone for 3 weeks straight. But no, that was in the context of everything, that was just such a cultural indicator of like the expectations of me versus the men that I was working with. And that was really the moment that I knew. And this was like a full 3 weeks before I quit, but that was really when I knew. Like, that was when I knew that this was something that I needed to get out of, because there was just such a toxic culture and expectation there. And, you know, once again, I had a stable job elsewhere, and I had the luxury to be able to leave. I was very lucky to have that luxury, because a lot of people are stuck in really, really crappy work situations like this, and they don't get to leave because they don't have like anywhere else to go. And so in that stance, like, I like understand, like, I was super fortunate to be able to just be like, absolutely not, like, I'm not going to tolerate being treated like this. I am out. I think that if you are finding yourself in a situation that feels anything remotely like toxic or feels like unfair in any aspect, start looking elsewhere. Like, my quality of life improved so much after leaving this job, not only because I wasn't working 75 hours a week, but also because I just wasn't saddled with all of these interactions with people that were just absolutely, like, I couldn't, there was nothing that I could do. And this is not meant to sound braggy, but I'm usually pretty good at most things I do. And so I'm not used to being constantly like nitpicked, because I do that to myself. I nitpick the crap out of myself, and I always am good at finding faults within myself. But this was one of those situations where like I could never win. Like, no matter what I did, no matter how much I tried to fulfill people's expectations of me and do my job well, it wouldn't cut it. And once again, like, not an everybody thing, because so many of the other trainers were just pulling so much crap, including my absolute favorite scenario, which is the thing that makes me angriest, because this one didn't just affect me, this affected someone else. And it is that I was working with a client who was, first of all, brand new to fitness. Like, this was like very new for him. He was a young kid. He was probably like 15 or 16, so young, impressionable, and, you know, getting into something like fitness for the first time, which is just such a, those early experiences at like a gym or at any sort of, you know, setting like that can form such a lasting impact on your relationship with health and fitness, and your relationship with your body image, and your relationship with exercise and food and all of these things. That those moments are so important. And it's really important that you like are encouraging and like not fat shaming. That fat shaming is never how you get anyone to live and maintain a healthy lifestyle, because the whole thing behind it is making them hate their body. And the whole thing that you should be encouraging with fitness is that you do it because you love your body and because you want to make it better and you want to make it be the best that it can be. That is what fitness is about, and it is not about making someone feel bad because they weigh more or because they haven't worked out before and they don't know the technique. So anyways, I was training a brand new client and we were going through like very, very basic things. Another trainer walks up to me and looks at him and looks at me and starts giving me advice on how to run my session, and multiple times says, when you're working with bigger clients, when you're working with an obese client, when you like he's too big for that. And then tried to put him through a series of exercises that weren't good for him because they were things that I had already talked to him about and we knew weren't good fits for him because of things that we had gone over in the assessment that just weren't right for him. But anyways, the whole bottom line here was that if you are in a gym or an environment where the whole concept behind getting people to purchase personal training, getting people to go to the gym, getting people to buy your services is by shaming them and by making them feel fat or unworthy or, you know, like unqualified, you're doing it wrong. Like, absolutely, that is not what being healthy and working in the fitness industry should be. And if that is, and that's a very widespread mindset. It's a very widespread mindset to just be like, you know, like, we're going to prey on people's insecurities as a way to make money. And it is the biggest load of bull that I've ever encountered in my life. And I hate it so much. And I will never work for a gym like that again. I will never work at a place where their mindset for getting people to purchase personal training or getting people to work out is by scaring them about the way that they look. There are so many other reasons to get people into fitness, and maybe they're not as easy. Maybe it's not as like fun to be like, hey, you should respect your body and like do nice things for it, and exercise is actually a really nice thing to do for your body, as is eating healthy. That's not as easy as, you know, telling someone that they're fat and they should probably change that and like adapting to this societal expectation that people should be thin. But it's so much better. And a important thing here is just something that I should have done and did not because I was in a state of desperation at the time, is to make sure that you are working somewhere that lines up with your values and not just somewhere that lines up with your job description, because you will be miserable and you will get so angry at people who are just, you know, following that work culture that you are so profoundly against. Anyways, that's that. And then the last thing, which is, you know, another fun natural consequence of being the only female and being a like young-ish female working in a gym that has a very gym bro culture. I had a very, very uncomfortable interaction with a coworker wherein he had my phone number and I was working out on my break and I got a text from him. He was like, "You're very distracting," with a little winky face at the end. I can't. Like, that is the most unprofessional thing ever. Like, first of all, men watching women in the gym is creepy to begin with. Full stop. Like, that is, do your own freaking workout. Let me do mine. It is not any of your business what I am doing. Please stop staring at whatever. Like, that's not okay. But it is even less okay when it is A, someone you work with, and B, someone who is, let me do the math, 16 years younger than you? 16 years younger, yeah. No, absolutely don't. Like, that's just so uncomfortable, and it colored all of my interactions with this person going forward, because it had gone from like, hey, cool, like just like another colleague, to like, I can't do anything in front of you. like from that point onward, I felt uncomfortable demoing things in front of clients when he was working at the same time that I was, because, you know, it had already been stated, like it had already been put out into the open that he was watching me while I was working out. And that was just a fundamentally uncomfortable environment. And then, I mean, like, he wasn't the only one, but that was just like the most aggressively uncomfortable experience. And it really does tie into the entire sexist gym bro culture that I experienced both at this gym and like is very present as a whole and needs to not be as much of a thing as it is. But it, so I'm not the type of person who likes quitting things easily. I am very much the type of suck it up and keep plowing forward type of gal. I don't think I've ever like only done something for a month and then quit. But this was different, and you know, there are a lot of lessons that I've learned like going forward, because I do intend at some point probably to work at a gym or to do some sort of training, because I really do enjoy like the individual, like working with clients aspect and like helping people, and you know, letting my love for fitness and exercise be something that helps other people. Like that is something that I truly and genuinely enjoy and is something that I want to continue to do. But you know, this is something where I've realized that you've got to do your research. You've got to not only do your research, but really, really pay attention to all of the warning signs. And if anything feels a little bit off, it probably is. Anyways, now that I have ranted for approximately, you know, 20 minutes, I think we're gonna call it a day for this video. It has been a lot of fun to just yell at my camera for a little bit. I don't normally yell at my camera. I normally do some other like more productive fitness things and actually using my personal training certification in a much more productive way than this. So if that's more of the type of content that you want to see, and maybe an occasional shouty story time, you can subscribe down below. You can also hit the bell icon to get notified when I post new videos. If you enjoyed this, it was in any way informational so that, you know, you don't make the same mistakes that I do, give this video a thumbs up. You can leave a comment down below telling me about any of your job horror stories, and I will see you guys next week for next week's video. Bye guys.